Okay, two more minutes to go, inshallah. We are live on air.
Yes, I guess we are. All right, Maha, would you like to walk us through the presentation, the program today?
Yes, dear. Hello, everyone. This is Rilo Cairo. I'm Maha Hosni, a Rilo mentor and an e-teacher alumna. I have the greatest honor and pleasure to be part of such gorgeous team. We are all driven by passion for a noble mission that's cascading knowledge and delivering the give it back karma of learn it, share it. Now we are in session 6 of our novice teacher comprehensive program. Today's speaker is Mr. Ibrahim Gomaa, and he will speak to us about teaching reading. I would like to remind you with our past sessions, the awesome stars in our galaxy. The first session was lesson planning by Maha Hosni and Shirihan Morsi. The second session was teaching grammar by Mr. Muhammad Mitwali and Mr. Muhammad Faiz. The third session was teaching vocabulary by Mr. Abdulati Hamdi. The fourth session was teaching listening by Mr. Ibrahim Abudallah. The fifth session was teaching speaking by Ms. Amani Kastab. And today is the session number 6 with Mr. Ibrahim Gomaa to learn how to teach reading. Okay, welcome Ibrahim, and the stage is all yours here.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Maha. I really appreciate the great introduction. I'm very delighted to be one of this amazing program to help teachers to learn and share. Today's session is about reading. So we're going to talk about how to teach reading.
Yes, dear, an awesome topic. Yes, dear, go ahead.
I'm sorry, guys. Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
Yes.
We are live, but we didn't start the recording, guys.
Okay, this is me. I'm Ibrahim Gomaa.
No, I mean, can you see the live on Rilo Cairo? Can you see the live on Rilo Cairo? Because I can.
I will check it. I will check it.
It's marking live here.
You can see it?
A message was delivered telling Hana started live streaming.
Yes, Dr. Hana, we are live on Rilo Cairo.
We are live
on Rilo Cairo.
Okay, shall I continue?
Excellent. No, wait a minute, Ibrahim. Shall we admit the people first?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, because there's a lot.
And start the recording, Yamaha.
Okay, the stage is yours.
And start the recording.
All right. We're admitting people, Ibrahim. So just give it a couple of, just 1 minute, and then you can start. Now everyone will be admitted automatically. I stopped the
meeting room?
Waiting room. Okay.
Okay.
No waiting room anymore. People will join right away. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, Ibrahim. Yes, thank you very much for doing this, Ibrahim. You can start now.
Okay, this is Ibrahim Gomaa. I'm an English teacher. I have been teaching English for 10 years. I work at Abu Bakr Official Language School. I am a Rilo mentor. I am an Access teacher as well. So the program of novice teachers is intended to assist classroom teachers, makes necessary connections between theory and practice, supports the professional and personal growth of beginning teachers, and provides professional development opportunities for the mentor teacher. So this is the program objective. And also we would like to help the novice teachers to enhance their experience and enrich their knowledge. These are the teacher's needs. So number 1, access to knowledge, experience. Number 2, enhance personal and professional well-being. 3, increased job success, self-confidence, and self-esteem. 4, reduced trial and error learning. 5, support, and this is the last one, support for successful induction into the teaching career. Before we start, we have some norms. So please mute your mic, raise your hand if you'd like to speak. And if you are asked to write anything in the chat box, please write it down. So these are the norms of our today's session. So thumb up if you have attended the last session. Great, everybody. Thumb up if you watched the last match between Al Ahly and Al Zamalek. I know many people watched the match. It was really fantastic.
Very disappointing. Okay.
Yes. Maybe for you, but other people see it's an amazing match. So
very
this
few
is,
people.
Yes. Hopefully. This is our agenda for today's session. So what is reading? Types of reading. Background to the teaching of reading. Reading strategies. How do we teach reading? Stages of teaching reading. Online apps and resources. And the last one, references. Because of the shortage of time, we are going to explain each one briefly, but in an exciting way. So stay with us. Question number 1. What is reading? Please write what you think. What do you think about reading? What is reading in the chat box? And we have 1 minute.
Would you please mute yourself, please?
Please mute your mic.
Okay.
Could you mute your mic, please?
Please, would you please mute your mic, please?
Now I'm going to mute all of them.
Yes, of course, of course. Okay, dear.
Could you please write in the chat box what is reading?
People are sending greetings from India and from Pena.
Wow, welcome everybody. Welcome, yes. Everybody. Great to see you here. I'm very delighted to have people from different countries.
Yes,
that's amazing. Reading is just like getting into new life.
Knowing
wow, that's
the
great.
Written text, reading is a reference to a written matter, comprehending.
That's amazing. Yes, that's really awesome.
People are sending greetings from Pakistan as well.
Hello from
Dhaka. Oh, from Bangladesh. Okay, so here we have our United Nations here.
Yes, I have people from different countries.
Yes, welcome everybody.
Welcome
Honored
everybody.
to have you all.
Yes. So thank you everybody for your great participations. Reading. I'm sorry.
From Algeria as well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Reading is learning to pronounce words, learning to identify words and get their meaning, learning to bring meaning to a text in order to get meaning from it. So thank you for your great participation. You just mentioned all of them. It's all about reading. So here we are going to talk about types of reading. What are the types of reading? What do you think, everybody? Write in the chat box, please. What do you think about the types of reading?
Yes, greetings from Pakistan, Algeria, and Bangladesh.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Reading for pleasure. Okay.
Thank you. That's great. Yes.
What else?
What do you think, everybody? What do we have else? What types of reading?
Okay, Saudi Arabia. Intensive and extensive reading.
Yes.
Silent reading. Reading to get information.
Great participations, everybody.
Reading for information.
That's
Okay.
amazing. I do appreciate all your great participations. Wonderful, everybody. Thank you so much. So we have three
Information and
types of
message, loud reading and silent reading for fun. Okay,
Oh,
still they are writing. Yes.
oh my
Yes, dear.
God. Thank you so
Good, dear.
much. Oh, wow.
We have clever teachers here. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm really grateful. Actually, we have three types of reading. Academic reading related to papers, textbooks, essays. And the second one, we have job-related reading that includes financial documents, reports, letters, and messages. And the last one is personal reading, like reading cards, emails, newspaper. So these are the three types of reading. And now we're going to move to the background of the background to the teaching of reading. What do you know about extensive and intensive reading? I'm not going to ask you this question. I'm going to elaborate it in the next slide because I have many wonderful teachers. They can explain everything. So extensive reading, it's called reading for pleasure. So reading longer books for pleasure and to develop general reading skills. Actually, we do this kind of reading outside the classroom. So it's a kind of reading for fun. I consider it like this, reading in free time for fun. This is extensive reading. So what about the intensive reading? It's called reading for information. Reading in detail with specific learning aims and tasks. We do this inside the classroom. We ask our students to read for a purpose. So this is the intensive reading. And now we're going to move to the reading strategies. What do you think, everybody? Here I'm going to highlight two things, skimming and scanning. Skimming and scanning are two different strategies for speed reading. They are not meant to be used all the time, though they are effective and essential. What do you think, everybody? Write in the chat box. I would like to hear from you. What do you know about skimming and scanning? You have 40 seconds to write in the chat box.
Yes,
what do
can
you
I
know
say something?
about skimming and scanning? Yes, Mr. Ibrahim, go ahead.
Yes, skimming and scanning are reading techniques that we that use rapid eye movement and keywords to move quickly through text from slightly different purpose. Skimming is reading rapidly in order to get a general overview of the material. But scanning is reading rapidly in order to find specific facts in the text.
Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you for your great ideas. I do appreciate. You have mentioned many tips related to skimming and scanning. Thank you, I do appreciate. Ms. Maha, do we have anything in the chat box? Could you please read it to me?
Yes, dear. Scanning, reading for details. Scanning, giving in details by key points. Skimming for general information. Skimming is just reading by finding keywords. Okay. And people are saying that you are doing a great job, dear. And greetings from Tunisia as well.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate all your great participations. I'm very delighted to have such wonderful teachers here. Thank you so much. I do appreciate your participations. So here I'm going to ask you to read the following text to skim it, but you have about 40 to 50 seconds to read this quickly. Just read the following text quickly. Done? If you're done, just write in the chat box. Just read it quickly. Think time is over.
Skimming for word by word, skimming by line by line. Okay.
That's amazing.
Okay. Skimming is more accurate than skimming. Okay.
Thank you so much.
For an overall idea.
Oh, that's great.
Done. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Maha. I do appreciate your great effort.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear.
Okay. So here, if we're going to skim, we have more than one technique, and this is the first technique in order to skim a text. Just read the first sentence of each paragraph to skim it. As you can see here on the screen, it's very clear. Just read the first sentence of each paragraph, and then you're going to skim it. This is one technique. And the second technique we have here, we're going to read just the words that stand out in order to skim it, as you can see here on the screen. Is it clear? The words that
Yes.
are written in red. And also I read another technique that you're going to read just the headings and the conclusion of the text, and then you can skim the text. Because skimming means reading very quickly words that give idea or gist of the whole text. So you are not asked to read everything. So what do you think, guys? What is skimming? Skimming
Reading
is,
from below.
okay. Skimming is one of the tools you can use to read more in less time. Refers to looking only for the general or main ideas and works best with non-fiction material. Many people think that skimming is a haphazard process, placing the eyes wherever they fall.
Excuse me, Ibrahim, we have here a question from Jalil
Okay.
Marmouli. How
Yes.
important is background knowledge in reading comprehension? He's asking about how important is the background knowledge in reading comprehension.
We're going, this is called schemata. We're going to link between what are the things that the students know about the topics they are going to read and connect it with the reading text. Their prior knowledge relating to the text they are going to read. And I'm going to explain this later on. Maha, could you please take note of this question? I'm going to answer it by
Yes,
the end.
dear. Yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course, dear. Of course.
Thank you, Mr. Jalil. Let's go back to what is skimming. To skim effectively, there has to be a structure, but you don't read everything. Here, this is a question for you guys. What materials should we leave out when we skim? What do you think, everybody? In less than a minute, could you please write in the chat box?
There are three ways if reading dealing with a text as a linguistic tool, product basis for other readings, repetition words, repeated words, you mean? Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. These are great tips. I do appreciate. So what do you think, everyone? What materials should we leave out when we skim?
Examples, repeated words.
Could be.
Okay. Useless information.
Could be.
What else? What
Okay.
else, guys? Names. Okay.
Could be. Thank you so much.
Further details.
Wow,
Okay.
thank you so much. Oh, function words. Oh, thank you so much for your great
function words. Yeah.
Wonderful, everybody. You see, Maha, I have wonderful teachers here.
Yes, because of you.
Thank
It's
you,
because
Maha.
of you.
Thank you, Maha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we read is more important than what we leave out. Because as I said, skimming means reading very quickly words that give the idea or just of the whole text. So read only the first sentence of each paragraph, or by reading the first few paragraphs in detail, you will get a good idea of what information will be discussed. Could you please mute your mic?
Mute all, Ibrahim. Mute
Yes.
all. Okay.
Okay.
And if there's
Thank you so much.
okay, G, go ahead.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Maha. Here we have some important questions we're going to ask to decide if you want to use skimming or not. If you answer yes to any of these questions, then skimming is a useful tool. Question number 1, is this material nonfiction? Do I have a lot to read and only a small amount of time? Do I already know something about this? Can any of the material be skipped? Actually, if you have enough background or knowledge about the things you're going to read, you don't need the information, so skip it. So these questions are essential and very important before starting the skimming strategy. This is a task for you guys. Just read the following text quickly and answer the questions. Here we have 2 questions. You are going to read the text in 30 seconds and answer these 2 questions. Go ahead.
Done.
Wow, you're very fast. I have fast learners here.
This is scanning. Okay.
Okay, check your answers.
$18.95.
Yes. And Röntgen, check your answers.
Reading for specific information.
Thank you so much. This is scanning. Thank you, Mr. Jalil. Actually, what did we
Ront
do here?
again. Ront again.
Yes, this is, yes, thank you, everyone. Great answers. Wonderful, everybody. Actually, when we know what we are looking for before we read, we don't read everything. That's happened when we answered these 2 questions. We didn't read everything. We just go directly to what we are looking for or what we are supposed to look for. So this is called scanning. So what is scanning? Scanning is another useful tool for speeding up your reading. Unlike skimming, when scanning, you look only for a fact or a piece of information without reading everything. So this is scanning. This is a question for you guys. How do we scan? In a minute, please write in the chat box, how do we scan?
Yes, any volunteers for half hour, the methods of
Yes.
scanning? Just looking through the lines, by searching for topic sentence as well as supporting details, by
Thank you,
searching
everybody.
about answers,
Great, everyone.
word by word for specific information.
Oh, actually, that's great ideas, everyone. Wonderful. So
We act like scanners, okay?
yes, that's
very
exactly.
good expression. Yes,
Wow, that's
yes,
add
we act
something?
like scanners. It's very
Yes.
true.
Yes,
We look
this-
for
Can I add something?
particular information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
someone
word
is
by
going
word.
to talk.
Yes.
That's great. Could you please mute your mic? If you want to speak, it's okay. Just raise your hand. Great, everybody. These are wonderful ideas because you already scan many different types of material in your daily life. So learning more about details about scanning will be easy. Establishing your purpose, locating the appropriate material, and knowing how the information is structured before you start scanning is essential. And here I would like to give you an example. If you are going to buy a can, I mean Pepsi can or something, so we want to look for the expiry date. Where are you going to look? Are you going to read everything on the label, on the can, or you're going directly to the top of the can or the bottom of the can to check the expiry date? What do you think, everybody? What do you think, everybody? Yes, exactly. We go directly. Yes, thank you. We
Yes,
go.
a structure is no longer scanning, it's digging,
Yes.
dissecting the text.
Yeah, he means
A
that
good
we go
example.
directly.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, he means that we go
Okay.
directly to the thing we're looking for. So the material you
To the
scan.
bottom. Yes, to the bottom.
Yes, thank you so much. The material we scan is typically arranged in the following ways: alphabetically, non-alphabetically, or by category or textually. So the material we scan, it's arranged like this. Here, we can use our hands while scanning, and this is very important. Look at the picture. What is he doing? He just go through the lines and look for specific information. It's the scanning way. So like scanners, as you have mentioned, Mr. Jalil. Thank you so much. So learning to use your hands while scanning is very helpful in locating specific information. Do you do anything with your hands to locate a word in a dictionary? We do that all the time. To find a meeting time on your calendar, or to read a train or bus schedule. So let's move to something else. What do you think, everyone? How do we teach reading? I'll give you 1 minute to write in the chat box. And if you'd like to speak, just raise your hand. How do we teach reading?
Using your finger will make you read slowly. Okay. Okay. We teach reading via reading techniques.
Okay, so
What
what
are
are
the
these?
reading techniques?
Yes.
Please elaborate. Pre-reading. Okay.
Mhm. That's really awesome. What else,
Proofreading.
everybody? Excellent. That's really awesome. This is,
Very well.
yeah,
Post-reading.
yes. Thank you so much. The framework for teaching reading is called PDP. P for pre-reading stage, and D for during reading stage. And the last one, post-reading stage. So these are the 3 stages of teaching reading.
Yes, silent reading. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Ibrahim Abdullah, would you like to speak? It's okay. Yes, go ahead. Mr. Ibrahim, you raised your hand. Mr. Ibrahim, maybe he
Rufan
has.
Nahar.
Yes.
Rufan.
Okay.
Rufan Nahar. Unmute yourself, dear.
Okay. Let me. Could you please mute your mic? Could you please mute your mic? Yes, go ahead, Rufan Nahar.
Maha, you're the host. You can mute people.
Okay. So, Rohan, if you'd like to speak, yes, the Zoom is yours. I think she has a problem with the internet. So let's go to the next slide.
Yes, Mr.
Yes, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes, I raised my hand, but you didn't hear my voice. Yeah.
No problem.
As you have already mentioned that we teach reading through 3 stages: pre-reading, while reading, and post-reading.
Yes.
In pre-reading, a person prepares himself or herself.
ندى بصي
Nah,
طلع ودان
Yes, Mr. Ibrahim, go ahead. Mr. Ibrahim, go ahead. I think you have a problem. Thank you so much.
Hello? Yes, Ibrahim.
Yes, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes. As you have already mentioned, we have three stages of teaching reading:
Yes,
pre, while, and post. In
yes,
the pre-reading, the reader prepares himself or herself for the things that they are going to read,
okay,
and he puts in his mind some things like setting up a purpose. I mean, to decide a written or mental goal for his reading, because the purpose will help him to locate the specific information or the ideas that he needs to summarize from the text. Next, he make predictions. I'm talking about pre-reading. Okay,
okay,
making predictions, yeah, like to use the title or sub heading to generate an idea about the book or the text, and trying to figure out how the writer will try to communicate the topic. Then the reader builds knowledge, and in this first of all stages, the reader makes himself familiar with the language, the format, the topic, the issues, the ideas that he will cover.
okay.
Then is scanning vocabulary. After this, he's skimming. I mean, skimming the process in which a person just do a surface leaving reading, and they pay attention to the visuals, the subheadings, the format to govern. After that, after skimming, he scan and simply means to do quickly reading. That's it.
Oh, thank you so much. These are great tips, Ibrahim. Thank you so much. I do appreciate.
My honor.
Thank you. Naha, please,
Yes, dear, I'm here.
because you make my mic mute.
Sorry, I'm
No, it's
trying to
okay.
unmute to mute all the participants. So keep an eye on your mic, dear.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Sorry.
So I think we have problem with the next slide.
Okay, you can move it to the left.
It's
Maybe.
okay, now it works. Okay,
There
before we apply the framework, we have mentioned the PDB. So there are some important questions we're going to ask ourselves when creating this framework. So number one, are the activities of the PDB lesson plan linked to each other? Do the activities belong to the right stage of the lesson? For example, is a pre-reading activity an actual pre-reading activity? Is the lesson plan based on reality and not on impossible and unrealistic expectations? Is the evaluation strategy measuring what you need to measure? Are activities involving all the learners? So these are the important questions we are going to ask ourselves before we apply the PDB framework. What do you think, everybody? Do you agree with me? Just we have, you can write in the chat box if you agree or not.
Yes,
What?
all structure content points.
Okay.
Mhm.
So let's move
Yes,
to the next slide. The
all people
pre-reading.
are agreeing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is the pre-reading stage. Pre-reading activities are activities help students to raise their schemata and link between their prior knowledge and the text they are going to read or hear. So help students think about what they know about the topic and predict what they will read and hear. This will pave the way to the reading text. So we have here some purposes related to pre-reading activities. Number one, establish a purpose for reading. Number two, improve vocabulary so students can complete the reading task successfully. And number three, predict what they are going to read. And the last one, establish what they know about a topic. So a pre-reading stage is very important because this is the first thing the students are going to face in order to go to the next stage. And the next slide, we are going to discuss some examples we can use in the pre-reading stage to help our learners understand the text they are going to read. So example number 1, we have KWL. Have you experienced a KWL chart in your classroom?
Yes, this graphic organizer, yes.
Yes. What do you think, everybody? Have you experienced this in your classroom?
Yes, the K for now, yes.
Amazing. What else?
Want to know?
Want to
Learn.
know, that's amazing.
Yes.
What
And
else,
learn.
everybody?
Learned.
Oh, learn. That's great. Actually, KWL charts are simple. Just have the students write everything they know about the topic in the first column. So we have 3 columns. The first column, they are going to write what they know about the topic. And the second column, they're going to write everything they know, they want to know. So W, want to know. And the third one, they're going to write what they learned after the reading. And I'm going to show you an example or a graphic organizer for this in the next slide. Example number 2, true or false. Let us take an example for the influence of social media on teenagers. You can come to the classroom and read a few statements and ask the students if they think those statements are true or false. Actually, here you are not going to reveal the answers, but you're going to let them confirm if they were right or wrong when they are doing the reading. So you're going to ask them statements related to the reading they're going to have for today's session or for today's class. Oh, sorry. Number 3, example number 3, videos. Actually, there is so much good free content available on the internet these days, and you can navigate any video related to the topic you're going to read today or the topic of the reading. Here I would suggest something around 3 minutes long. And then you are going to ask the students to watch the video, and then they are going to discuss some questions related to the video with their partner. Am I clear, guys? Is it clear?
Yes, dear.
Okay. So the last example here, I'm listening to you. In fact, this is a challenge. You're going to ask the students to talk in English for a minute about the topic they are going to read today. And they are going to switch the roles between themselves inside the classroom. What do you think, everybody? Have you experienced any of these activities inside the classroom?
Charts, pictures, videos, posters, globe,
Yes.
according to the topic demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right in the chat box.
Even in exams. Okay.
Oh, that's great.
Number 2, 3. Number 2 and 3.
Wow, amazing.
Audio also. Videos, true, false, KWL. All of them, but the most difficult for most students is speaking.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Yes.
Could we give the video and the other pre-reading activities as an assignment to leave the discussion to the classroom? Find if a flipped classroom.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, everybody. Keep the questions, Maha, for the end of the session, and we're going to answer them later. Okay. And now we're going to see the KWL chart. This is a graphic organizer for the KWL chart. So here in the first column, we have what I know, and second, what I want to know. The third, what I learned or still need to learn. And this is an example. I think it's clear now. So now we're going to watch the video. But before we're going to watch this video, I would like you to just read these questions and you're going to answer it after watching the video. Just in 20 seconds, read these 3 questions. Okay, done. Now we're going to watch a video for an activity or a strategy we can apply inside the classroom. It's called Think, Bear, Share. Maha, could you please mute the mic for those people?
Yes,
Maha?
dear.
Okay.
I'm keeping on muting all of them, but okay, but unmute yourself, dear, okay?
Okay. Now we are going to watch the video. It's an activity or a strategy you can apply in the pre-reading stage. It's called Think, Bear, Share, and we can apply it in the during reading stage as well. So let's watch the video.
Think, Pair, Share is another one of those informal but really handy strategies to use within your classroom. Can be used across grades, across content area. Some teachers call it turn and talk. But essentially what it involves is a teacher stopping at some important point in the lesson and asking students to think about what that content means for them. Then turn to a partner and pair and talk with their partner about what it is. And then the teacher opens the floor and asks students to share.
I want to talk to you about a strategy called Think, Pair, Share. We do it all the time. Put your hands down for a minute. We also do turning and talking. Sometimes Miss Doyle says turn and talk to a friend. The best part about Think, Pair, Share is the first part, the part about thinking. Because if you give yourself a minute to think about what was read to you or what you just read, collect your thoughts, then you go and share, then there's 2 people here who have a lot to share, don't they? They have a lot. Can you tell me some of the rules? Because we do have rules, and we practice this, and we modeled the right way to think, pair, share, and the wrong way, especially the partner part. So can somebody tell me one of the rules, quick and clearly, Deja?
If you don't have a partner, join a 2. And this is the good way to partner. To get elbow, elbow, and knee to knee and start
You could
talking.
either be elbow and knee to knee, or you could do what? Is there another way that you could partner up so I could just glance at you and I know who your buddy is? Maya?
You can just turn to someone quickly and just start thinking and talking.
So turn to someone who's near you. You don't walk right across the room.
Now let's see Miss Doyle's class demonstrate the strategy using a nonfiction text.
So the title of this book is An Egg is Quiet. It's by Diana Aston. And the illustrator is Sylvia Long. An egg is quiet. This is a black-necked stilt egg. It sits there under its mother's feathers, on top of its father's feet, buried beneath the sand. Look at it on the feet of the emperor penguin. This is Kemp's Ridley sea turtle. Warm, cozy. An egg is colorful. I'm going to read you a couple of these. This is the lobster egg. This is the brewer's sparrow. I want you to stop for a minute and I want you to think about this story that I'm reading to you. A couple of days ago, I read to you the book, A Seed is Sleepy. I want you to think for a minute. I'm going to ask you a question, and before you turn to a partner, I want you to really think about the question. How is this book similar to A Seed is Sleepy? I want you to compare the 2 books in your mind. How are they similar? Thumbs up when you have an idea. Okay, now I want you to turn and talk to someone near you.
Seed is sleepy and the egg is quiet, right? Eggs and seeds don't make no sounds. Only if you like throw them in like the water or somewhere they can make sounds. Well, yeah, some seeds, all seeds are like kind of like not white. They're kind of like dark.
So you think the seeds are colorful and different and the eggs are colorful and different. Okay, keep talking to each other. What other things make the books similar and what makes the books different?
Because seeds can't talk and eggs can't talk.
So that makes them similar,
The
right?
difference between seeds and eggs are seeds grow flowers and eggs don't.
Eggs don't grow flowers. That's true. Okay. I'm going to do something so that we can keep it kind of fair. I want to just call on groups partners and groups randomly. Margot.
Well, I said they both kind of look the same, and they mostly both have something inside of them. And Moya said this it's like the eggs are sleeping and the seeds are sleeping too.
Okay, so there was some sleepiness with both the egg and with the seed. Bella, what did you and your partner talk about?
We all agreed that we thought that it was the same author. It said in the book that an egg is clever, and then in the book about seeds it says a seed is clever.
And so you think, you had some clues that you think the authors are the same, and guess what? The authors are the same.
Think, Pair shares a quick strategy that can be used in the classroom. The design of it, where students think and then pair and then share, is good for those students who sometimes are reluctant to add their voice to the conversation, but by having that extra moment to think about it and share with a friend before talking to the whole class, you may be able to engage some of your students that are less likely to be a part of the conversation.
Thank you, everybody. So let us go for the questions. Just write in the chat box. It's okay to answer 2 out of 3. If you're going to answer 1 question, it's okay. If you're going to answer 3 questions, it would be a great idea. So what do you think, everybody? Just write in the chat box.
Okay. We used to judge a teacher's control over his class according to how quiet the class is. This is not true if we practice think, pair, share.
Okay.
Okay. Someone is saying background knowledge.
Amazing.
In a large class, pair talking is really tough.
Okay. It's challenging, by the way.
It's, yes, of course. It's a cooperating little class. But you know, Ibrahim, messy classes is a sign of that is learning is going on.
Yes, and we have a good atmosphere of having learning process inside the classroom.
Yes, yes, of course.
And we have something called good messy classroom or something like that.
Yes, dear.
It's called
The teacher explained but didn't model.
Okay.
People are writing.
What about explaining the strategy in the early beginning before starting it? Today we are going to apply blah 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 blah. I think he explained.
Participate. It's difficult to manage tips in large classrooms like mine. Okay.
It's not difficult. It's challenging somehow. But if you have a good classroom management, you're going to apply what you like.
Yes, of course. You are the maestro of your own orchestra.
Yeah, exactly. That's great.
Yes.
Do we have anything else, everybody? Do you have anything else, Maha, in the chat box? Because I can't see the chat box.
Controlling students. The teacher used a model reading through describing the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher here is a helper and a leader.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the let's go to the next slide. This is the second stage. This is the second stage during reading stage, and it's called while reading activities. While reading activities are defined to help students to focus on aspects. I see that in this stage you're going to go deeper in the text. You're going to learn and understand better things you're going to read for the class or for the today's session. So it's very important to understand what's going to deal with in this stage. And we have some examples here we're going to highlight and elaborate. Number one, identify topic sentences. Um, Actually, every paragraph usually includes a topic sentence that identifies the main idea of the paragraph, as we mentioned earlier. The second, distinguish between general and specific ideas. In every reading or every text you're going to read, there are general and specific ideas, and you can ask your students to check if this a general idea or a specific idea. Example number three, identify the connectors. Connectors here, I mean the linking words like though, although, and despite, in spite of. All these are linking words or connectors to link between more than a sentence. Also, we have kind of skimming a text for specific information, and we discussed it before. Scanning, and the last one, answering a short quiz. So these are some examples we can experience in the during reading stage. Now we are going to watch a video, but before watching a video, we are going to just read this question because we are going to watch it after, we're going to answer it after watching the video. Are you going to apply this activity? Why not? The activity you are going to watch is called jigsaw activity. So it's very important to apply this activity and in the during reading stage. And I have seen many teachers apply this strategy and it worked well. So we're going to figure out after watching the video. So let us watch the video first.
The jigsaw strategy is a cooperative learning strategy that helps children with their reading comprehension. It's a multi-step strategy that involves the use of home groups and expert groups. Before we jump into the classroom, though, let's break down all the steps involved. First, students start in their home groups. Each student has a different text, but all readings are related to the same main topic. For example, gardening. Next, they move off to their expert groups, which bring together students reading about the same subtopic. So every student studying vegetables would be in the same expert group. By discussing the subtopic together, they can become experts in it. Finally, the expert groups break apart and the students return to their home groups. Now, each of the students is an expert in one area of the main topic, and they can share that information with the students in their home groups. In essence, each student has become a piece of the puzzle, and when they come together, they help each other form the big picture. Now that we've seen the graphic representation, let's watch Kathy Doyle and her students put the strategy into action.
I want to know what you remember about the jigsaw strategy. Keith?
We went to different home groups.
And then you remember moving your body to another table. Does anyone remember when you got to that other table and you met with other kids who all read the same thing that you read? What was that group called? Deja?
It was called an expert group.
An expert group. When you're done with your discussion at your expert group, it's time for you and your expert friends to go ahead and figure out what was the main idea of what I read. What are some of the details that I want to report back to my home group? So together you're going to fill out a graphic organizer kind of like this. So you guys will all have your own because you will eventually leave that expert group and go off to report to your home group. So the first thing I'm going to give you is a clipboard. So when I call your name and I tell you where you're headed, I'm going to give you 4 clipboards.
and they're all ready to go. You are going to use your new text that I'm giving you. There are directions on here if you forget what you're supposed to be doing.
It's now time to head off to the home groups. Let's follow Maya, who's going to become the herb expert in her group.
And I would like the story too.
In the home groups, each student reads an appropriately leveled text about a different subtopic of gardening, jotting down notes as they go. Maya will cover herbs, Savion will study flowers, and Moya will learn about vegetables. Kathy keeps an eye on kids as they work to make sure they understand the assignment and stay on track.
So tell me, what did you learn so far? Did you read the first page yet?
Yeah.
What did you learn on this first page?
I learned on this first page, that they use herbs to put spice in food and cook
So
it.
herbs, they're actually called herbs. They use herbs to put spices in food. Why don't you jot that down? Did you know
Next,
what
the
herbs
students
were
are off to
before
their expert
you read this?
groups. There, Maya will get to talk shop with the other students studying herbs.
It is time to move to expert groups. So I am going to say a number, because your expert group is a number. Look at the text you are reading, and if that text says number 1, I want you to move here. Look how quickly Moya moved. I love it.
And we're off again. In the expert group, the students will ask each other questions and pull out facts from their reading.
Most herbs are easy to grow. I learned that sometimes they need water every day. I learned that gardeners plant herbs outside. Herbs are put in food to spice things up. Let's start working on this.
After discussing the topic, students decide what key facts they will report back to their home groups. Kathy has the kids use graphic organizers to help them arrange and remember the information.
If that's your main idea, what are some special things about herbs? Do you know? I'll give you a minute to write it down.
Well, each of us could use one of the things off of
The facts that you written down, you're
our
right.
facts.
That's true. Each of you could use one of the facts. So do you want to share one, Maya? What's your fact?
Well, my fact, I would put down pot plants dry out faster than outside gardens.
Okay, what about you? What are one of the details you'd like to put about that's special about herbs?
They need very little care.
That is special.
Once their organizers
If you're
are
a gardener,
complete, the
everybody
students
loves
are
a
ready
plant
to
that needs
return
very
to their
little
home
care,
groups
don't
to
you think?
report.
So the best part of Jigsaw, when we get to come back home as an expert reporter and report to our group all that we know. So it's time to do this. I want to remind you that it is your job to actively listen to everyone who reports. Antonio, because I'm actually going to ask you, what did you learn from Virginia? What did you learn from Moya? I want you to go back home and bring with you the graphic organizer. It's like a poster that will help you report to your group. Green group, go back home.
As the final step in Jigsaw, each student teaches the other in their home group about the subtopic they researched. So Maya shares what she's learned about herbs.
Cooks use herbs to put spices on food.
And the others teach her about growing flowers
It takes over a week to grow flowers.
and gardening with vegetables.
You can grow lettuce, spinach, and tomatoes in your house.
As a wrap-up, Kathy has the whole class come together and share what they've learned from each other.
Garden.
It's time to move to the carpet in the front to share. Okay? So I'm asking you to move. You don't need to bring anything. Just bring yourselves, and all your new knowledge is up here. Okay? It's all up here, so you only need yourselves. I really want you to think about what happened in that home group at the end and think, who taught me something? Because this time I don't want you to tell me something you read. I want you to tell me about something you learned from a reporter friend.
In growing herbs, I overheard Isaac say that herbs don't really need much care.
Okay, so under growing herbs, in this learning community, you heard so much teaching going on.
Even
that
though
you
he wasn't in
overheard.
my group.
He wasn't even in your group and you learned something. Herbs don't need much care. And she even credits Isaac for that fact. Antonio?
Other gardeners plant flowers to feed butterflies, birds, and
So
bees.
flowers are sometimes planted to feed. Tell me the difference between annuals and perennials. Did anyone learn about annuals and perennials?
Annuals stay for 1 year, and perennials stay for more than 1 year.
Excellent. Deja.
When I was reading my book, Growing Vegetables, they said on one of the pages, they said some gardeners say if you grow in your own backyard, it has a better taste.
Jigsaw supports students' comprehension and their skills in working together, but it's not without its cost. Jigsaw requires a lot of advanced planning and organization. You saw Ms. Doyle use colors and numbers to help her students navigate themselves around the classroom. She also had to think pretty carefully about the groups that she formed, for their expert groups, but also for their home groups. Teachers could make use of parent volunteers or instructional assistants to help work with each small group. And teachers should also think pretty carefully about the reading material that's assigned to each group. Last, you'll want to find a meaningful way for students to pull together all the information they learn from all the experts. One of the main benefits of Jigsaw, however, is that every student is accountable for their work. As an expert, they're accountable by sitting in their small groups and participating in that reading. And then back in the home group, every student is accountable because they're the expert on the material. And something I think you'll find your students really enjoy.
Okay, great.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And now we're going to answer this question. Are you going to apply this activity? Why not? I know the video was long, but it's a must to watch it in order to understand the jigsaw activity. And here in the slide, I have a graphic organizer for the jigsaw activity. And two things I would like to highlight, or I'm going to elaborate. We have two groups, the home group and the expert group. And the graphic organizer here indicates the two groups. So are you going to apply this activity? Why not? Please write in the chat box.
People are saying it's a great activity. Okay, it's
Thank
great.
you.
It works, but we have crowdy classes. Okay.
Okay, that's great.
Not just dull reading. Okay.
Mhm.
TPR activities can be used as well.
Okay, amazing. Amani, would you like to speak? It's okay. The Zoom is yours. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Ibrahim. First of all, I want to thank you for this wonderful session. Okay. Then I'll talk about whether we are going to apply this or not.
Okay.
Because we have large classes, most of
Yes.
us will say, no, we will never be able to apply this inside our classrooms.
So
But
what about the corridor, or what about the playground?
yes, I was about to say this. If we just think innovatively and encourage our students to do, they will be eager to follow the rules.
Yes.
If you say that we can go out and play this game or apply this activity, if we finished our studies or we finished our lesson on time, and if we just followed the classroom rules. I say this because I do this in my class. And we always go into the playground. And sometimes if the number is not that large, we just sit inside the classroom without changing the seats. We never change the seats in order not to just to be hocus pocus inside the classroom.
That's great.
Yes, thank you. But when they are interested and when they are motivated to do, they can apply this in such a wonderful, they feel that they are so special and they trust themselves, they get benefit more than if we followed reading in the traditional way.
That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thanks,
Oh,
Mr.
thank you, Amani. Thank you for elaborating the strategy and explaining your personal experience about applying this activity inside the classroom. Chapeau, wonderful ideas.
Thank you.
We will get you a chocolate, Amani, okay? But
Love you,
we will share it together, okay?
Yes, we will go to Luxor Yamaha together.
We will have the decade festival, okay?
No problem, you're welcome.
We'll go to the balloon.
Okay. Yes, dear, yeah. Okay.
You're most welcome. I mean it. You're most welcome.
Love you.
Thank you so much, Amani. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. Do we have anything in the chat box, Maha? Excuse me?
Yes, dear. In a
Okay.
minute. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. You can know about and learn a number of American. People are suggesting a number of American English board games. Okay, and he's
That's amazing.
sending us the link.
Okay,
Can we
that's
receive?
amazing.
Okay, people were asking about the presentation slides. Of course, you will receive the slides. Okay. Okay. People are asking, how can I apply this of 90 students when we are having 90 students in class? People also are saying children enjoy it instead of boring lectures.
Okay.
They don't memorize content sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
I think
students will be motivated and cooperative.
Okay, great, everybody. I think practice makes perfect. You're not going to master the activity from the very beginning. So it comes by time. It's a matter of time, and you're going to master any activity. Don't think that you're going to master an activity from the very beginning. It's a matter of time, and then you're going to experience everything, and you can source, you can select, adapt, replace, or supply. It's up to you. Maha, I think we have two people raise their hands. I can't see them. Could you unmute them, please?
Yes, dear, in a minute.
Okay.
Yes, here we go. Amani, this is Amani, done already, Amani?
Amani done.
Okay. Rufan Nahar,
okay.
asked to unmute. Okay.
Okay.
Rufan, are you copying?
Rufan, can you hear us? I'm awfully sorry, we are running out of time. Maha, could you please?
I think, dear, it was a coincidence. Okay, he's not copying. Yes. Okay.
Yes, okay, could be. So let's go to the next slide. This is the last stage in the pre-reading stage. We discussed the pre-reading stage and while reading stage, and this is the post-reading stage. This is the last one. Post-reading stage or post-reading activities help students have a clear understanding of the text. So now I think they mastered the text. So they are going to give us and tell us what they have read. So let us see some examples we can apply inside our classroom. Number one, creative discussions. Have you ever experienced the creative discussions in your classroom? Just write in the chat box, yes or no.
Shiwana Aslam is raising her hand, so raising his hand, okay. Ask to unmute.
Unmute.
Shiwana, are you copying? Unmute yourself if you need to participate, dear.
Yes, exactly. Maybe they have some technical issues, Maha.
I think so. They are not listening. They are not hearing. Okay.
Okay. So what about creative discussions?
No, I am listening.
Okay, so dear. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, I am listening you.
Okay. So what would you like to talk about? Would you like to talk about the last activity we have experienced it, or are going to talk about the creative discussions? Because here we are going to focus on creative discussions. Can you, Kabi?
Yes, actually we have very crowded classrooms. So how we can apply this activity in our class because I having 40 students, and sometimes I am facing too much problem during reading activities and speaking activities. So how could I tackle these problems?
Okay, I'm going to
Thank you.
highlight, thank you so much. As Amani said and explained that we have many students inside the classroom, so it's better to apply this activity outside the classroom. What about the corridor? What about the computer lab? What about the playground? What about an empty class or a wide classroom? You can apply it. Just check for a place, and it could be available in your school. It could be available in your school. It's challenging, I know, but if you insisted to do it, you are going to do it because you are a teacher and it's your call to do it. Thank you so much. Guys, what about creative discussions? What about the chat box, Maha? Have you ever experienced creative discussions? Okay, so creative discussions, we're going to prepare 4 or 5 simple questions, and then we're going to ask the students to talk about those questions for 3 minutes. And after that, ask one member of each pair to go and talk to another person of the group. So it's about 3 to 5 questions, 4 to 5 questions in 3 minutes, and then they're going to discuss. This is creative discussions. Quiz your classmates. What do you think, everybody? Could you please unmute yourself? Could you please unmute yourself? Could you please mute yourself?
Both activities regarding.
Mike, please.
Interesting.
Maha. So quiz your classmates. Ask your students. Can you hear me? Yes. So quiz your classmates. Ask your students to prepare 5 questions about what they read. Once they have them ready, you can tell the students to make groups of 4, and then they can ask those questions to each other. So this is a quiz your classmates. And also we have finding related news. So if you have an internet access in your classroom or in your school, and you can take your students to the computer lab and ask them to navigate, surf the internet to find related news after reading the text, and then they can share it with their partners inside the classroom. The last one, this is called creative writing. This is a little bit challenging because the students are going to pick or choose 10 to 15 words from the text, like the most important words or the most interesting words, the most catching words, or the catchy words they can see in the text. And then they are going to write a text using these words. And this text should be a story, a report, or a paragraph, or a bio about something. And this will be their writing. What do you think, everybody? Have you experienced any of these examples in your classroom? Just write in the chat box.
People are saying that maybe because of the lack of vocabulary, they were having problems in doing such activities. Okay. Creating writing is indeed a good way to assess students' understanding.
Thank you
From
so much.
the reading, they can write something like letter, story, paragraph, or dialogue. They can use graphic organizers. It takes time, and we don't have that enough time. Quizzes their classmates' hobbies, then fill in a table. Okay, you can use Quizlet. Okay.
Thank you so much. These are great tips, everybody. Thank you so much. I do appreciate wonderful participations, everyone.
Do you know about creative discussion, dear? I have an example here I want to share with you.
Okay, go ahead.
I use it with my pilot students. Okay,
that's amazing.
I used to teach the pilots. Okay, so I begin the session by saying, How if we, what if we have 1 hour to save planet Earth?
Oh, that's amazing.
And here we are all engaged in
That's really
finding
awesome.
solutions. Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
that's great. You attract them.
Yes, yes, yeah. Okay.
That's a great idea. Thank you, Matt. This is a wonderful participation. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
thank you, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is an example you can try in the post-reading stage. This is called exit slips. Here we have 3 things. Number 1, things I learned today. Students are going to write the things that they learned today, and then things they found interesting related to the topic of reading. The last one, questions still have, if they have questions. And this is part of my experience inside the classroom. I like this activity so much, and my students as well. And now we're going to watch a video to sum up the 3 stages. Then you're going to write in the chat box what are the 3 stages, and it will be a good idea if you write an activity for each stage. So let's watch the video.
We often divide reading into 3 stages: pre-reading, while reading, and post-reading. In this video, we're going to look at some tips for each stage and how you might use them with a typical reading lesson. For any subject, we all have different levels of background knowledge and experience. And when we read a new text on this subject, we use this knowledge and experience to help us understand the new text. This text is about collections. Almost all of your students will be aware of this hobby. Some may have relatives or friends who collect things. Some may have collections themselves. Before we read a new text, it's useful to activate this knowledge and experience. Use pictures and some simple questions. For example, what objects can you see in the pictures? Where do you think the people are from? Do you, or does anyone you know, collect anything? As students share this information, write key vocabulary on the board. We read a variety of things in our first language, and always with a purpose. For example, we read a recipe for information or a magazine article for pleasure. And for each purpose, the way we read can be different. Before you start reading a text, be clear about students' purpose for reading. For example, in this task, the purpose is to quickly identify the type of text. Students don't need to read every word of the text. In contrast, the purpose of the final activity is to find detailed information. Students now need to read the text carefully to find specific words or phrases. Reading while listening to a text is useful at all levels. First, the audio of a text is an opportunity for students to hear the pronunciation features of naturally connected text. Second, listening while reading helps to develop students' fluency skills. It forces students to read without hesitating, even if they don't understand every word. It can be challenging to understand text in one reading. So instead of reading the whole text, ask students to stop after each paragraph or section. Then, in pairs or small groups, ask them to recall what they have read so far. At lower levels, students can use their first language if necessary. Needing to explain something aloud in this way is a useful way of encouraging comprehension. What's more, students will often voluntarily reread sections to each other during this exercise to justify their explanations. At the end of a reading lesson, ask students for one thing that they found interesting in the text. Give them time to think of ideas and share an example of something you found interesting. For optional homework, suggest that the students find out more about this online, purely for their own interest. Before the next lesson, look up something that you found interesting in the text, and in class, briefly share what you learned. Ask if anyone else found out anything. Don't be surprised if you get a no at first. You may need to repeat this activity a few times before you get students to participate.
Okay, great.
Okay, so excuse me, write in the chat box the 3 stages of teaching reading. What are they?
Yes, would you volunteer to write the 3 stages of reading, please, dears?
What are they?
Pre, during, and post.
Oh, amazing, everybody. Thank you so much.
Okay. I can add some activities for each stage, dear.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, for the pre, I can use flashcards.
Amazing.
Okay. For the during, I can use the jigsaw
Really
activity.
awesome.
Okay, and for the post reading, we can use the shout it out. You know, every student will shout out a word from the red text. Yes, to just to demonstrate all the ideas in inside the red texts.
I like the idea of the shouting out. I haven't experienced it, but I'm going to try it and the following
great.
week.
It's great. It's really amazing. They all shout at the same moment.
Okay.
Just one word from the text.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's a kind of a wrap up.
Yes, it is. Actually, it is. It's like the exit slips. Thank you so much, Maha. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do we have anything in the chat box, Maha, or is it okay now?
No, just the
3 stages?
The pre, the while, the post reading.
Okay, that's awesome. Really
and
awesome.
People are saying that this is a positive noise. Shout it out is a positive noise. Okay.
It is, exactly. These are great tips, everybody. Okay, so this is a sample of the 3 stages. Here we have the 3 pre-reading stage. So in the pre-reading stage, we have 1, 2 tasks to do. Task number 1, introduction and lead-in, just to get the learners interested in the topic, or initial discussions of key themes. And task number 2, in the pre-reading stage, just to read questions about the text. So we have 2 tasks we can experience in the pre-text stage. And let us go to the during reading stage. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 tasks to do in this stage. So task number 1, we're going to focus on fast reading. I mean here skimming, reading for gist, to understand the whole text. And task number 2, we are going to focus on reading to locate specific information. I mean here scanning. And task number 3, just to highlight the general points, fill out a form, make a sketch, answer some questions about meaning, discuss issues, compare viewpoints, and so on. And task number 4, to focus on intensive meaning, some specific aims and tasks, or some learning aims. And the last task in pre-reading stage, we are going to focus on individual language items like vocabulary, grammar exercises, expressions, or the meaning of some words within the context. So this is the pre-reading stage. And the last stage, it is post-reading stage. So we have here two tasks. Task number one, it's called follow on the task or follow on task, like having a role play, debate, a writing task, or personalization. For example, have you ever had an experience like this one? And the last task we can do in the post-reading stage. This is called the closing. So we're going to review what has been studied and what has been learned. So this is a sample of the three stages. It's up to you. It's your call as the teacher. If you're going to use the same stage or the same tasks, up to you. You can change. You can source here. I mean by source, select. You can select from this sample or adapt or replace or supply anything. It's up to you. What do you think, everybody?
Great, awesome.
I think someone raised his hand.
I'm keeping on telling Hala, please write in the chat box because we are running out of time.
I'm sorry, we're running out of time. Exactly. Thank you, Maha. And this is the best e-book reader apps. I do recommend it. I do recommend all of them for teachers. I have experienced some of them, but I would like you to experience all of them to enrich your knowledge and enhance your experience. And these are the American English web sources I mainly depend on while in my learning journey. Here we have the American English website, the YouTube channel, and the webinars. You can check the previous webinars and watch them and download them. And also you can check the following or the next webinars. And also we have the programs like MOOCs and so on, the Facebook page and the Facebook group. Go for these wonderful sources, everybody. This is the reading. This is a reading resource. Actually, I have gathered some resources to benefit and increase your knowledge or your experience about teaching reading. So here we have a PDF, a webinar you can watch, and so many articles you can read. To conclude, I would not be exaggerating to say that one of the things that almost successful language learners I have met have in common is that they are detected readers in English. And one thing I would like to highlight here, the more you read, the better teacher you will be. The more you read, the more knowledgeable teacher you will be. So read, read, read. Reading is a must. This is the last slide. So if you have any questions, please write it in the chat box. And we're going to gather all the questions and answer it later on because we are running out of time. I'm awfully sorry.
Yes, okay, dear. Okay, we can use the American English, the Relo page, okay, yes, on which you can answer the questions. You can receive and answer the questions. Yes. Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Great as usual. A great presentation from an excellent presenter.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much all for being with us today.
Maha, in order not
Stay
to forget,
tuned.
Maha, just one thing I would like to say, excuse me, in order not to forget, these are my contacts if you would like to contact with me. So you can email me or call me anytime. Thank you so much. And the last slide, the references.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ibrahim. We do appreciate. Thank you very much. Very disciplined, very well organized session.
Thank you.
Very informative as well. Please all don't forget that we have still more sessions to come. Okay. Next Thursday, we will be having one of our awesome mentors, Miss Amani, and she will be presenting. What's the topic of next week?
I think.
Yes, writing. Okay, how to teach writing. Okay, yes. Miss Amani Ali, she's going to teach us how to teach writing. Okay, so stay tuned to another awesome session.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.